Hello, and thank you for joining the XRP army on the Crypto ZX channel. Despite the fact that I am grateful for all the affection, let's jump right into today's issue and find out what is actually going on. As Quintus puts it, this cycle is not like the others, an institutionally orchestrated bid and not excitement or fear of missing out, FOMO. In addition, I concur with that statement since in most cases we do tend to observe that it is more on the retail side of the spectrum. Typically, you will notice that the ecstasy is moving. And when it comes to retail, you probably already know that things are going to be entirely different this time around since it is smart money pouring in. Check out Bitcoin for a moment. Ethereum, Solana, and XRP are all assets that you should investigate further. Take a look at them. Even though there is a list that goes on, this does not mean that you are aware of everything. We are not going to witness a season for alternative cryptocurrencies, nor are we going to witness bullish movements in the broader markets. From what we saw back in 2017, even 2021, times have changed, since then. And that is something that a lot of people tend to forget. But again, I want to continue to remind you guys, those times were different because the valuation in the market was still very low. And again, cryptocurrency wasn't really adopted, in addition to the fact that there wasn't much regulation coming towards the cryptocurrency industry. But that has changed. If you are looking at everything that is happening right now, you will see that the cryptocurrency market has once again experienced a big carnage over the past 24 hours, which of course is not the best thing to see. But again, Bitcoin is all over the place, kind of something we've been discussing pretty much day in, day out, right? And again, Bitcoin is not out of the woods yet, even as of now. So the price of XRP 2.76 going into Friday morning, as mentioned, down about 3% in USD, down about 1% in Bitcoin, comparative valuation at 165.2 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about $9 billion. As always, just a quick disclaimer, this channel does not provide any kind of legal or financial advice. If you are considering investing in cryptocurrency, you should always conduct your own research and due diligence. Let's take a look at the index that measures fear and greed. At this very moment, we are in the fear zone, which is now holding at 44. Again, are we taken aback by this? My opinion is that we are even lower. As a result of the events that have transpired in the cryptocurrency markets in the past few hours, I believe that we are currently in an even more terrified state than we were before. On the other hand, there are many who view this as a positive development in terms of the number of people who are accumulating for the long haul. These are the ones who have done their study and won a dollar cost average. These are the ones who have done their due diligence. Also, keep in mind that there is a well-known proverb that says, be greedy while others are fearful. When others are greedy, you should stay scared. And in times of uncertainty, those who are able to stockpile are the ones who have a tendency to do well over the course of a longer period of time. Additionally, it pulls your entire dollar cost average price down, which is a natural consequence of this. On the other hand, take a look at this crack and raise this $500 million at a valuation of $50 billion in advance of a possible initial public offering, because they are aware of the opportunity they truly possess, the potential they have at the moment, and the hype that surrounds cryptocurrency pennies and initial public offerings, IPOs. A lot of businesses are choosing to follow the route of an initial public offering, IPO. So it does not come as a surprise to me that Kraken would go ahead. It is possible that they will be successful due to the fact that Kraken is by far one of the largest exchanges in the world. Also, just so you know, this just kind of provides us with a little bit of a better knowledge of what occurs when a rebel goes public. Additionally, this is not something that we are conjuring up out of thin air, as you may be aware. This is a topic that has been brought up in conversation. It is a statement that the Chief Executive Officer, CEO himself, has made in the past. The timeline for the year 2025 definitely does not include anything, as is obvious. As I mentioned earlier, they are adopting a strategic mindset. It is not the case that they will simply come out with something and your ETF possibility may go live this year, and then immediately after that, they will do an ETF and then they will go IPA. That is not how it works. You know that they are making significant moves with the acquisition of the Hidden Road, and you also know that they are making some significant actions right now. In addition, they have a strong desire to be a part of the regulatory clarity that is emerging for the cryptocurrency business. In all honesty, you are kind of assisting the legislators in comprehending what cryptocurrency is all about, and I believe that is what they are concentrating on the most at the moment. But once more, you are aware that this provides us with a slightly improved comprehension of what we might anticipate when Ripple goes public with its first public offering. Nevertheless, have a look at this. VanEck, one of the top 10 ETF issuers, met with the SEC's crypto task force early today, discussed the implementation of tokenization of exchange-traded funds, ETFs, and the role of underlying issuers, as well as look over the agenda. Please make sure you are paying attentively. Totally agreeing with Nate Garcia on this point. This is in reference to that. Now that it has satisfied the requirements of the new general listing standards, another cryptocurrency exchange-traded fund, ETP, has gone live on the NASDAQ, providing investors with access to XRP, Solana XLM, in addition to Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you want exposure, you can already do that. But of course, this is an index. It's not directly you're going into the likes of XRP or Solana or Bitcoin. This is like an index. It's compiles of these 5 assets, of course, that, we have just mentioned. But again, we want to be paying very close attention to this because this is shedding some light on the deadline that's coming in October. Would it be possible for an exchange-traded fund to go online in October? Numerous individuals are looking forward to the occurrence of that. Please share your thoughts with me in the comments section. Do you believe that an exchange-traded fund, ETF, will go live, or do you believe that it will be postponed until the following month? Big things, nevertheless. In addition, keep in mind that the first episode of the On-Chain Economy series will focus on whether or not decentralization and institutional adoption are compatible with one another. The answer is yes, and Joel Katz emphasizes that neutrality is essential. He describes how tokenized assets and on-chain credit are helping to bridge the gap between TradeFi and DeFi, as well as how XRP Ledger is the ideal foundation to facilitate this transformation in the industry. In addition, we have been discussing this topic. It is important to keep in mind that it is a one-stop shop for entities who want to tokenize their assets. Always keep in mind that XRP Ledger is the one-stop store it is. More than once, it would be one of those places that would be appealing to tokenize. Additionally, DBS, Franklin Templeton, and Ripple are working together to provide trading and lending options for institutional and accredited investors. Tokenized money market funds on the additional PL Ledger blockchain and stable coins like as RLUSD are the answers that are being proposed here. A lot of things are happening, but before we get into that, let's take a look at what's going on with the price of Bitcoin. And as far as the domination is concerned, XRP is currently sitting at approximately 59%. And the fact that it is definitely gaining some momentum should not really come as a surprise based on what is happening with Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is going to obtain 109,650% of the market share, I want you guys to pay extremely close attention to something. Despite the fact that we are experiencing a slight rebound, as you can see for yourself, we are not out of the woods by any means, and it is possible that we may retest the 23.6 important support line. Taking into consideration the levels that we are currently occupying, I would like to bring to your attention the fact that the price of additional pieces is still hovering around the same level as it was yesterday. I would also want to mention that there has been a great consolidation around the strange. Although it is obvious that we are below the 23.6 fib zone, which, as you all are aware, is something that I do not particularly enjoy seeing, additional P has, in the larger scheme of things, nevertheless managed to maintain its position rather nicely. It is obvious that I mentioned in my most recent report that 2.58 TAS could be the next goal that you should be keeping an eye on if the price of Bitcoin does not remain stable around these critical levels. Despite this, the price of XRP has managed to remain stable over $2.70, which is a positive development. One step at a time is the approach that we need to take. It is important to keep in mind that only 24 hours ago, we were literally retesting almost $3, but at the moment, the market as a whole is kind of all over the place, especially because of Bitcoin. I'm going to make sure that you remain protected. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think about this thing. You are all loved. Stay tuned for more. Been CryptoZX, and now I'll be at peace.